If you keep scoring 66 points, that seems to be the recipe here.
Yeah, and defensively, we should be able to hold teams under 66, so that's a pretty good spot to be. Kids played well.
The tempo and the style of play seemed to change about 8-10 minutes to go when they started to make their charge. I guess how did it change? What happened there that it kind of changed?
Defensively they started gambling a little bit more, and they caused some issues with us offensively, and then on their offensive end they started hitting some shots and they got to the rim a little bit. I think we got a little bit tired. We had some foul trouble in there too as well, and they took advantage of some of that.
Defensively, you were good again. I know towards the end there you had to sweat it out a little bit, but for what 25-30 minutes, they were sitting under 30 for a long time. Defensively, you were good again.
Yeah, and that's got to be the recipe, right? If we struggle offensively, which we did a little bit tonight, even though putting the 66 points up, I think if we play a good defense that sort of travels, we're going to need that next week, and that's sort of been our calling card.
I told Garrett, I want to know what it feels like to have that, like, in the zone, it's a ridiculous analogy, I know, but, like Michael Jordan, like, he has that look when he makes that three or when he goes for the and one, like, I'm not going to be beat. I want to know what that feels like.
Right, I think it's a lot, Garrett's certainly that leader with us where he wasn't going to let us lose, and our senior class really did a nice job tonight of making sure that we stayed together. There was a timeout there, about a couple minutes left, where they got it down to 5. I didn't really have to say much. The kids just sort of made sure everybody was on the same page, and that's what leaders do. And these kids have been around the block and played a lot of basketball together, and so they sort of kept each other in check.
I don't want to take anything away from what you accomplished tonight, but you guys have bigger goals. And so what do you take from these last 2 days that makes you a better team going into sectionals?
Well, we'll take a look at some things. I think defensively, we're probably going to still shore some things up after the second half there, but I think more it's tournament time, and it's they got physical, got a little chippy, and they didn't want to lose, and it just ended up being one of those things. And so I thought offensively we did a nice job. Defensively, gave up a few too many buckets in the second half, but I think every game's a build. You just got to keep building on, and we'll just keep working on what we're doing. I
thought Davis and Luke were nice compliments to Garrett tonight. Luke hitting those 2 threes right away out of the gate, just to kind of get into a rhythm, I think makes a big difference sometimes, rather than seeing the first 2 clank out.
Right. Yeah. It's always in a big game like this, especially in the tournament. We get a couple buckets early on and get yourself going, and just everybody sort of relaxes a little bit when somebody gets a couple buckets. And there's a couple possessions there early on we didn't get anything, and they didn't either. But once Luke got going, got us a nice little spark. There's a couple big shots.
Last question, in 2 sentences or one or 2 sentences, what was the key tonight? What if you had to say it in 2 sentences, this is why we won.
Composure. We were composed, and that was key number 1 for us tonight. We knew it would be chippy. We knew it would get a little bit rough and things like that. And I thought our kids did a nice job. They made a nice run at the end, but we stayed composed and took care of what we needed.
You didn't even need a sentence. You just needed a word.
Just one word. Just one word.
So. Cool. Awesome. Congrats.
Yeah, you bet.